In the last decade, the internet has witnessed the birth of numerous pseudo-online celebrities known colloquially as living memes. Often thanks to a bombastic viral video appearance, an average Joe can suddenly find themselves becoming the intrigue and obsession of the vast internet, with Redditors, Twitter users, and YouTubers ascribing nicknames, making jokes at the expense of, and involuntarily celebritizing said individuals. However, sadly, what often goes unrecognized is that many of these living memes have tragic lives and backstories, and more often than not, being pushed into the meme limelight, it exacerbates problems in their personal lives. And in today's video, we'll be looking at some of the more unfortunate cases of this happening. This is the dark reality of living memehood. Now, to begin, I'd like to discuss the tragic backstory of me having absolutely zero swag. See, look, no watches, no bracelets, rings, nothing. That was until I got hooked up with today's sponsor, Holzkern. Holzkern makes bespoke jewelry and accessories with an emphasis on creating striking pieces using unique material combinations. And these guys make some killer watches. This is their melodical watch, an elegant combination of a leather strap with a stainless steel bezel and a marble stone face. It's great for a casual look, a really versatile piece while still looking opulent at the same time. My absolute favorite watch from Holzkern is their stainless steel and marble Elky watch. The shimmer of that stainless steel, the marble face, it has this killer sporty look to it, like I should be on a yacht right now doing this advertisement. Overall, just a really beautiful watch. Holzkern also has a line of striking accessories created by using wood alongside metal. This is their triad wood and silver bracelet. It looks great when paired with their Cartesian walnut and silver ring. If you're looking for a more granola type look with just a little bit of steez, definitely go that route. Look, I've been wearing the hell out of my Holzkern stuff since the day it arrived at my front door. I love this brand and can totally vouch it's high quality stuff. You guys can click the link in the description box and use code SERV15 at checkout to get 15% off any of Holzkern's products right now. So make sure you take advantage of that link and the 15% off code, and without any further ado, let's get on to this story. The first living meme we'll be discussing is Quaden Bayles. Quaden is a young man with a form of dwarfism whose viral video sparked conspiracy theories online, with tens of thousands alleging him and his family of committing fraud. On February 18th of 2020, a short Facebook live stream was created by a woman named Bayles. This stream showcased her 9-year-old son Quaden crying and experiencing an apparent mental health crisis.
Give me right now. I can stab myself with an art. You watch me. Even you think you're a little looking at you. You don't even do anything. And Mrs. George got me the dumbest shit in the class. I do want to die right now.
In the video, the boy's mother can be heard saying something along the lines of, "This is what bullying does to children."
And this is the impact bullying has on a 9-year-old kid that just wants to go to school, get an education, and have fun, but every single freaking day, something happens. Another episode, another bullying, another taunt, another name calling.
Quaden suffered from a dwarfism-related disorder called achondroplasia, and it's presumed that schoolmates had been bullying him over his appearance. The video is admittedly tough to watch, but it appears that Yaraka filmed it because she wanted to raise awareness against bullying in an attempt to sort of, spread the message so people would stop. And if this was in fact her intention with recording this, she was quite successful in those regards. The Quaden Bayles crying video went immensely viral, receiving over 340,000 shares and close to 20 million views after being published to Facebook. Media outlets began discussing the story as Quaden's plight would trend on sites like Twitter, with users creating the hashtag Quaden Bayles, which would see worldwide publicity. Celebrities even came to Quaden's defense, such as comedian Brad Williams, who suffered from a genetic condition similar to the young man. This comedian would go on to create a GoFundMe page for Quaden and his family in the hopes of getting the family a trip to Disneyland. But with immense viral interest and activism surrounding Quaden's story, that Disneyland goal would be completely smashed, with Brad's fundraiser for Quaden and his family eventually raising an eye-popping amount of $450,000 of what was originally a $10,000 goal. And donators were happy to allow Quaden and his mother keep that extra charity money. In the wake of the charity, countless public figures and articles were announcing their support for Bayles and continued their efforts in helping remedy the situation. In a matter of days, Quaden found himself receiving love from all across the world and was being invited to appear at exclusive events, one of which hosted by the National Rugby League, which the young boy was a fan of. Thus far, the Quaden Bayles story really seemed like it was an example of perfect internet justice. A boy gets bullied, the aftermath is recorded, published to the internet, charitable people from around the world see it, they make the situation right with their love, affection, and donations. Well, despite the massive amount of support that Quaden was getting, there was a rising faction of skeptics. These skeptics questioned the legitimacy of the story that was portrayed in that original viral clip that spread around the internet, feeling as if something was fishy and that the family might have been using this as a money-making ploy. And with that said, 3 days following the initial viral attention given to Quaden's story, on February 20th, a rumor began to circulate on social media, suggesting that the whole ordeal was a scam. And this is where things get weird. Photos unearthed from Quaden Bayles' Instagram page would lead many to believe that he was in fact an 18-year-old dwarf and that the video of him crying had been faked by him and his mother as a publicity stunt. Skeptics noted that Quaden had various active profiles on acting websites, listing him as an actor, model, and influencer. Images were also discovered that seemed to show Quaden flexing with cash money. And the nail in the coffin for many of these skeptics was a post that circulated seemingly showcasing once thought to be 9-year-old Quaden celebrating his 18th birthday. A viral Facebook post pushing this theory says, "Just so you know, he scammed everybody. He's 18, has plenty of money, and yeah, everyone fell for it. Now if I'm wrong, please source your link and explain why to me. He's an Instagram celeb, @Quaden Boss," and deleted captions pertaining to his 18th birthday post. Aside from the 18-year-old claim, this post highlighted something that many people were unaware of. See, Quaden Bayles actually had an Instagram account with over 30,000 followers, and this only added more fuel to the speculation fire, with people accusing him of being a fraudster. The account was soon flooded with hate messages and was privated not long after, making it seem as if Quaden and his mother had been caught red-handed and were attempting to hide from the truth. At this point in the narrative, a large portion of the internet now felt that they had been essentially defrauded by an 18-year-old dwarf posing as a 9-year-old and his mother. They felt that they had been sold some made-up sob story, and these individuals made off with good people's money. But, is there any truth to this? No. Absolutely none. See, the smoking gun piece of evidence that was being used to out Quaden, it was just a complete lie. The 18th birthday image was actually taken at Quaden's cousin's party, who was turning 18 at the time. Quaden was just attending the party. Folks who wanted a scandalous narrative had simply been misrepresenting the images taken at this party. In fact, when looking at the actor databases that many skeptics cited to expose Quaden, you can actually find snippets written by his mother outright stating that her son was 8 years old at the time of the article's creation. Additionally, to explain his pseudo-influencer status and further corroborate his age, Quaden and his mother frequently appeared on Australian television to advocate for their community. In 2015, Quaden and his mother appeared on television when the boy was just 4 years old. The reality of this situation was there existed a massive back catalog of information online and on television that essentially confirmed that Quaden Bayles was indeed a 9-year-old with dwarfism. And there was like no evidence confirming the contrary. And even when his actual age was confirmed, many just moved the goalpost and accused him of already being a rich individual because he was listed as an actor online, which is just a really fucking hilarious conclusion to jump to, if you ask me. As a result of all the hate and controversy, Quaden's mother would ultimately decide to turn down the entirety of that massive GoFundMe sum. The money was reportedly donated to charity instead, the woman doing so in an effort to stop people from harassing her and her family. Sadly, what started as a pure online moment and real stance against bullying, it was spoiled by online conspiracy theorists. The tragic irony of this whole situation was that the viral attention that started as a means to support someone who had been bullied only ended up in the young man being bullied on a much wider scale, with nothing being done to remedy the situation. And thousands to this day still believe that Quaden Bayles was an 18-year-old dwarf who swindled the public. And in reality, that couldn't be further from the truth. Another individual that had a run-in with living memehood during their childhood was Latarian Milton. Many of you old-school YouTube viewers might remember Latarian's viral news appearance from back in 2008 that made him infamous.
I took my grandma car because I got mad at my mom, and then I suddenly had my friend come in, and he smoked with cigarettes.
However, unlike Quaden Bayles, Latarian Milton was actually guilty of wrongdoing. He's essentially a living meme for stealing cars. This story begins back in April of 2008, when at the time 7-year-old Latarian Milton would steal his grandmother's Dodge Durango van and go on a joyride in it with his friend around Palm Beach, Florida. During their chaotic romp, Latarian plowed over 2 mailboxes, struck 2 parked cars, and hit 2 moving vehicles before crashing into a curbside and breaking both of the front wheels and the axle off the van. The 7-year-old boy reportedly caused close to $12,000 in damages in the process. Police were made aware of Latarian's rampage when motorists and witnesses reported seeing an extremely short individual driving a van recklessly. After being apprehended by authorities due to his age, Latarian wasn't charged with any crime. But the young man wouldn't need a criminal charge to become a pariah. All he needed for that to happen was this now infamous news report highlighting his activity.
I want to do it because it's fun. It's fun to do bad things, to drive into a car.
But did you know that you could perhaps kill somebody?
Yes, but I wanted to do Hoodrat stuff with my friend.
You don't think he should be punished for all of this?
Just a little bit, no video games for a whole weekend. I took my grandma car because I got mad at my mom, and then I suddenly had my friend come in, and he smokes with cigarettes.
I mean, we can all relate at 7 years old, get mad at your mom, steal grandma's van, go smoke a couple cigarettes, hit up the Marlboro store. Everyone's been there, right? The bizarre nature of this incident and Latarian's memorable quotes in the news report rocketed him into being a widespread meme. And because of the "I wanted to do Hoodrat stuff with my friend" quote that Latarian gave in the interview, people started calling him Hoodrat Kid. Latarian and his Hoodrat Kid story was spread around the internet like wildfire throughout the summer of 2008. Many online were appalled at the boy for his behavior and brutally chastised him in comment sections around the internet. Others shared the clip, simply finding Latarian comical. What's undeniable though is that behavior like this at the age of 7 certainly casts a dark cloud over one's life trajectory. And unfortunately, what we find is not long after Latarian's rampage, the boy gets exposed for even more antisocial activity. Approximately 2 weeks after Latarian's joyride, it was being reported that the boy had physically hit his grandmother inside of a Walmart after she refused to buy him chicken wings.
The problem began when Latarian asked his grandmother to buy him some chicken wings. She said no, he got mad, walked over and ordered them anyway. When his grandmother confronted him about it, Latarian snapped.
They started hitting me. They started hitting me in front of the whole Walmart, and everyone in there was upset. In my stomach, in my legs, wherever he could reach me, that's where he hit me.
If this was a situation involving literally any other child on Earth, it probably wouldn't have made news coverage, but because it was Latarian, this was a headline story in the local area.
I'm sorry what I did to my grandma's truck, and I'm sorry what I did to all you people in the hospital. And I love you, and I hope you be in prayer.
And I know what causes this behavior because all he's ever seen was his parents do physical, abusive, and verbal things.
Evidently, Latarian was mimicking his parents' allegedly abusive behavior towards one another, and this combined with the online attention he was receiving made many concerned that the boy was being encouraged to misbehave, as he was essentially rewarded with attention every time that he acted out. But this wouldn't stop Daniel Tosh from inviting him on his show.
Yo, Latarian.
What's up, bro?
What's up? How are you? Have a seat. Do you think that this was kind of your grandma's fault?
A little bit. She should have kept her keys in her purse.
Around the time of the Tosh appearance, Latarian was also parodied in an episode of The Boondocks, further establishing him as an internet icon and living meme. After Tosh and the Boondocks, things fell silent on the Latarian Milton front, and many online assumed that the boy had devolved even further into criminality. However, years later in 2015, the world was shocked when it was being reported that Latarian had done the unexpected, managing not only to graduate middle school, but Latarian seemed to have aspirations and dreams for the future. The boy was playing football, had dreams of going into the NFL, and even being an engineer.
It's going to be good when I get to school, in high school, because to be able to come on the football team, have some good success there, be able to graduate from there to go to college.
This video would go viral on social media, and many were pleased to see that Latarian was apparently turning his life around. However, what we find is old habits die hard. And in the coming years, Latarian would resume his car-stealing activities. 3 years later, in 2018, Latarian Milton was arrested after a new car theft incident. According to reports, Latarian and several friends were riding in a Lyft taxi. During this ride, an altercation broke out between one of Latarian's friends and the driver, after the driver refused a request to drop this passenger off at a location not selected in the Lyft app. This resulted in this passenger allegedly pulling out a pistol and pistol whipping the Lyft driver. The driver was then pushed out of the vehicle and robbed, and after the alleged robbery committed by this passenger, it was none other than Latarian Milton who sat in the driver's seat of the vehicle and sped away with the stolen Lyft. History had repeated itself, and Latarian and his friends were eventually caught and taken into custody. After being held at a juvenile facility for some time, Latarian was tried as an adult and faced up to 15 years in prison for aggravated assault. But after it was proven that he didn't technically assault the driver, he was only given 4 years of probation with no jail time and managed to graduate high school after this incident. It seems Latarian still has issues with the law. As recently as February of 2023, it's been reported by Real Garden State that Latarian received criminal complaints for obstructing administration of law or other governmental function and simple assault. The exact details of what led up to these alleged complaints remains unknown. Whatever the case, if this report is accurate, it appears now 22-year-old Latarian still is getting into trouble. Latarian's story is tragic in many ways, but as it pertains to this video, I think it's pretty clear to me that early attention granted in his childhood for committing bad behavior by the media and the internet only worsened his situation. As I said previously, every time he acted poorly, he got attention for it. Latarian is still a young guy, and it's never too late to turn things around. We'll just have to see what's in store next for Latarian Milton, aka Hoodrat Kid. The last two stories we discussed showcased examples where living memehood undeniably resulted in overwhelmingly negative consequences for the parties involved. Next, I'm going to tell you all the age-old story of the Deez Nuts Guy, a situation where becoming a living meme seemed like a blessing at first. But as more time passes, the actual curse of living memehood has become apparent. Back in 2014, short meme videos were seeing a lot of circulation on sites like Vine and Instagram, and many noteworthy meme classics were born in this era, one of the most popular of them being the Deez Nuts video.
Cause something came in the mail today. These nuts. Got him!
The video is quite basic, all things considered, but what you need to know is that it skyrocketed in popularity around 2015 and 2016, and you literally couldn't go anywhere without people saying, "Deez Nuts." But what many don't know is that the creator of this infamous meme experienced a good deal of problems as a result of its virality. The man responsible for this infamous video is none other than Welvin the Great, real name Welvin Harris. Welvin, who suffers from an unspecified cognitive disability, actually had a sizable Instagram following before Deez Nuts, posting various comedy videos which often portrayed him as the butt of the joke. Welvin's first run-in with viral fame was a video he posted known as "Who Ain't Got No Bitches?", which was essentially a short clip of him responding to one of his friends telling him that, hey, somebody said that you don't have any bitches.
Welvin, the homie said you ain't got no bitches. I need you to prove these niggas wrong, because I'm trying to vouch for you, but the homie said you ain't got no bitches.
Who don't got no bitch?
Ironically, this video was shared by a massively famous Instagram model, resulting in the man getting his first taste of online fame. But this was only the beginning of things. On March 20th of 2015, Welvin released the infamous Deez Nuts video, which would go on to become easily the most viral short video of the year.
Deez Nuts?
Deez Nuts, which was something of like a 90s throwback joke, was single-handedly revived by Welvin. And thanks to the video's success, coupled with his odd appearance and speech, the man found himself an overnight living meme hit. And at the time, celebs were reaching out left and right to collab and get photos with him. That's how big the Deez Nuts meme was. In the wake of these business opportunities revealing themselves, Welvin's friend, Lefty Bradford, would soon become his manager and began helping him expand in the social media world, setting up paid Welvin meet and greet events at exclusive private parties. The price for these appearances were said to have been in the thousands. Thanks to the mainstream success of the Deez Nuts meme, Welvin weaseled himself into high-echelon social circles. Photos showcase Welvin at concerts and parties, commiserating with celebrities like DJ Khaled and Kendrick Lamar, amongst others. Welvin went from "Who Ain't Got No Bitches" to literally rubbing shoulders with some of the most popular celebrities in the world. They had turned Deez Nuts into a hustle. However, eventually, problems would emerge. In April of 2015, media sources were alleging that Welvin was arrested for sexual assault at a high-profile North Hollywood after-party. The report claiming that at this party, Welvin yelled out "Who ain't got no bitches" and inappropriately touched a woman. This story got some online traction, but was later proven to be fake. The website that posted it was notorious for creating fictitious satire articles to trick the public, and the rumor was directly addressed by Welvin himself in an interview shortly after it was proven false.
And I remember there was a rumor, I think, like after that night at the open mic, that you got arrested or something like that. Well, clear that up.
I didn't get arrested.
He's never been arrested. Never. It was from some site we've never even heard of.
Aside from this little public relations bump in the road, the Welvin the Great train was moving full steam ahead. Welvin continued to appear at high-profile events and continued producing videos for Instagram and YouTube, which were received solidly. The man was also getting a plethora of offbeat business offers, such as a Deez Nuts video game that Welvin reportedly lent his voice to. Him and his manager Lefty would even begin filming a series called The Life of Welvin the Great on his YouTube channel. They hoped that this would eventually lead to a reality show on mainstream television. But none of these dreams would ever come to fruition, and in all reality, this was the peak of Welvin's career. Like most internet memes, Deez Nuts would eventually fizzle out, and in months its popularity faded, dragging Welvin's social media clout alongside with it. See, the sad reality for these one-off viral stars is that they often find themselves chasing the dragon, attempting to recreate the lightning in a bottle that was their one viral video that got them famous in the first place. Unfortunately, many of these one-off viral videos just come to fruition out of dumb luck, and the creators don't have the talent or stick-to-itiveness to, up their magnum opus, if you will. A lot of these guys just can't figure out how to turn their living memehood into a career. It's that simple. And with that being said, after about a year since the Deez Nuts limelight, Welvin's star had faded severely. Views diminished and collab offers stopped coming in. Things would only get worse for Welvin when in 2016, his Instagram account, which boasted over 1 million followers, was hacked and deleted by the infiltrator. Welvin was forced to remake a new page, but sadly, this account didn't see a fraction of the Deez Nuts era success. With his fame having been lost, he would stop being invited to events, and his financial status appeared questionable to say the least. Around this time, videos began appearing on social media purporting to show Welvin homeless in the streets of LA. These videos show Welvin in rough shape, agitated, and downtrodden. The people in these videos often take a harassing tone towards him and sort of make fun of him.
What's the deal, bro?
You gonna do no video of me?
What's the deal with you, bro? Pick your ass over here, blood. What's happening, blood? What's the deal?
After these videos went up on YouTube, people started spreading rumors and becoming concerned about Welvin. In April of 2021, a video was published to YouTube showcasing Welvin sleeping in the street, the man looking unwell. Most saw this video as confirmation that Welvin had become homeless, and some even took it as proof that he was dead. This video led to a full-on Welvin death rumor circulating social media. A rumor so prominent that Welvin would make a return to social media to address it. According to Welvin and his family, the man wasn't homeless and was safe with relatives. It also appeared that a safety net was in place and that he had loved ones to care for him.
And I wish that these blogs would stop with all these rumors about Welvin being dead. He is very much alive and well. Welvin has a family that loves and cares about him. He hasn't had any dealings with Lefty in a long time. So, you know, I wish all these rumors would stop, and I wish you guys would just leave Welvin alone, stop bullying him on these streets. Just, you know, let him live the life that he want to live. Welvin he has a family that loves and wants to take care of him, but Welvin chooses to go off for days at a time. He has a home to come to. He comes home, he rests for a couple of days, he go back out in the street. There's nothing nobody can do about it. There's nothing we can do about it. We don't want that for him, but this is something that he wants to do.
Speaking in terms of the present day, Welvin's online limelight has all but faded. And unfortunately, the only recognition he gets these days seems to come from cruel individuals who recognize him on the street and want to pick on him and remind him of his fall from grace. Some even engage in full-on harassment of the man. Recently, Welvin's current status is more difficult to discern, although it does appear based off of content posted to his TikTok that he's doing a bit better, but still faces some financial problems. Welvin's story is a sad one indeed. In my opinion, it seems as if Welvin didn't really have anyone around him during the peak of his online fame that was giving him good advice, especially financial advice. As it's clear to me that Welvin might not be the best at making decisions on his own and could possibly be open to manipulation. From literally creating one of the most popular memes of the last decade to being cruelly harassed on the street, that was Welvin's story. Moving along on our exploration of living memes with tragic backstories, I'd like to segue into the topic of the Best Cry Ever guy. Best Cry Ever refers to a colossally famous viral video showcasing a man's tearful breakdown on a television show. Uploaded back in 2010, Best Cry Ever has close to 100 million views today, and this video has been used in all types of online video remixes, from Vines to TikToks to YouTube videos to YouTube poops to freaking all the way to GIFs on Twitter, just everything. This is without a doubt one of the most viral videos of all time. And while most all of you watching this video have probably seen Best Cry Ever, I'd be willing to wager that very few of you actually know the tragic story behind the man in this video. The crying man's real name is Rocky Lockridge, a former professional boxer in the featherweight class. And Lockridge had quite a prosperous boxing career, climbing his way up the ranks to face off against some of the most well-known boxers in history. One of his most famous bouts being with Roger Mayweather, the uncle of Floyd Mayweather. And Rocky gave Roger his first career loss. Rocky's boxing career lasted 11 years, and within those 11 years, he took a lot of head damage. And it's said that because of the mental and physical pain that he experienced from boxing, he turned to drugs to cope with that pain. Rocky would become addicted to both cocaine and alcohol, going on binges after his fights. As the man aged and the drug abuse got worse, Rocky began losing more fights, and with much insistence from those who loved him, he would begrudgingly retire from boxing in 1988 and return to his hometown of Tacoma, Washington with his wife and kids. Unfortunately, with his persistent addictions and main source of income now gone, the man's life quickly fell into turmoil. Rocky's boxing money savings were quickly drained, with the man burning through his earnings, supporting his family, and feeding his rampant drug addiction. Rocky often borrowed money from those closest to him to stay high and was completely consumed by addiction. And eventually, friends and family stopped financially supporting him out of fear of becoming enablers. These persistent problems drove a wedge between him and his loved ones, and eventually the man's marriage fell apart over his financial and drug problems. After losing his family, Rocky moved to New Jersey for work and got a job at William Jones & Sons, a barrel company that paid $8 an hour. At this job, Rocky cleaned and painted barrels. But unfortunately, shortly after getting this job, Rocky would end up in legal trouble after getting hit with theft charges. As a result of these charges, Rocky was given 5 years of probation without jail time. 3 years later, the man reoffended and was thrown in jail. Lockridge was released after several months and wasn't able to find work afterwards, making him homeless. As a homeless individual, Rocky survived off of food stamps and panhandling. Things only got worse for the retired boxer after he experienced a stroke in 2006 that left him unable to walk without a cane. This development would reach his family, who were honestly perplexed at what they should do in regard to Rocky's situation. 3 years after Rocky's stroke, his tragic story began circulating around on social media. And as a result of this, his 24-year-old son Ricky managed to track Rocky down and offer some support to his father. And Rocky's story eventually caught the attention of the A&E reality show Intervention, a show where families stage interventions on their struggling family members that are addicted to drugs. In Rocky's episode, his entire family came together to discuss his drug addiction dilemma. And it's in this episode's pivotal scene when his family is pouring out their hearts to him that the best cry ever meme was born.
I still love you.
A day after this episode had aired, the clip containing Rocky's crying segment was uploaded to YouTube, where it subsequently went viral, making the man a living meme. The sad reality and irony of this video is that for the last 10 years, or even more at this point, the entire internet has been laughing at this man without even realizing that this was his probably lowest moment in his entire life. As for Lockridge, his story would take a positive turn after Intervention, as he would attend rehab for 3 months and appeared to have finally kicked his addiction. The man reportedly remained sober for the rest of his life, but sadly, the decades of drug abuse had taken a toll on Rocky's body, and in February of 2019, he had several more debilitating strokes that left him in hospice at the age of 60. He soon passed away, and both his family and the few in the online world that were aware of his story mourned his loss. It's unfortunate that not many people online are aware of the backstory behind this infamous clip, but hell, maybe that's me doing my community service, I guess. Moving on from Rocky, another living meme that experienced a deeply tragic life prior to memehood is none other than the Joe Biden wake up guy, aka Muhammad Wali. Muhammad is most known from his TikTok content. While the exact date is unknown, it's thought that Muhammad joined TikTok sometime in 2020. During 2020, his account started getting a lot of attention thanks to the bizarre videos uploaded to it. Muhammad's videos consisted of him essentially ranting in broken English and Arabic, with various contextually irrelevant video effects added to the video content, making for an uncanny spectacle.
Women for the White House, Black House, Salam, asshole, go out, no more, we need you. ناكم قرآنا عربيا لا تعقلون يا عرب يا زمايل. الموت لكم يا إيران وعراق وسوريا وتركيا. Who fucking Arab don't go to heaven? Arab terrorist motherfucker Arab. Chinga tu madre Arab. مسج from محمد خانقين 4 وصلات كردستان دولة أوروبية إسرائيل تكساسي.
Muhammad would exist as a niche TikTok oddity for some time until eventually publishing the Joe Biden Wake Up video. The video known as Joe Biden Wake Up is a short piece of content published by Muhammad on September 11th of 2020, where Muhammad seems to accuse George W. Bush of being the one responsible for the 9/11 attacks.
Joe Biden wake up. Joe Biden wake up. 9/11. 2001 was George W. Bush. They make a 9/11.
The odd appearance of this man, coupled with his indeterminable accent, along with the ominous delivery of Joe Biden, wake up, made this man into a viral meme on TikTok, with the Joe Biden video being shared across numerous platforms including Reddit, Twitter, and YouTube. A living meme had been born in Muhammad Wali. And the more people that followed Muhammad and viewed his bizarre catalog of videos, the more you had people asking the question, who exactly is this guy and what is his backstory? I mean, you gotta admit, the guy's a peculiar cat. Why does he speak so strangely, and what happened to his eye? The answers to these questions would remain elusive for some time, as Muhammad would frequently vanish from social media and would become extremely difficult to contact. The man moved mysteriously behind the scenes, and information regarding his personal life was almost impossible to find, with the only insights coming in the form of anonymous Reddit posts from people who claim to have known him personally. But thankfully, over time, thanks to a plethora of credible anecdotes, along with a Zoom call interview that H3H3 Productions conducted with Muhammad himself, there is now somewhat of an official backstory for Muhammad, the Joe Biden Wake Up guy. And to be honest, the guy's had a pretty rough life. Muhammad Rajab Wali is a culturally Kurdish man in his mid-50s living in Arlington, Texas. The man grew up in the city of Kanakin, Iraq, which is located in the culturally Kurdish region of the country. For those unaware, Kurdistan is the roughly defined cultural territory of the Kurdish people, which spans parts of Iran, Syria, Iraq, and Turkey. The region has been involved in bloody conflict for decades, with the Kurds attempting to gain independence from these countries and form their own nation. Fighting was particularly intense during the Iraq and Iran War from 1980 to 1988. During Saddam Hussein's reign, Kurdish parties stood against the dictator and allied themselves with Iran in an effort to gain independence, which essentially resulted in Iraq beginning a genocide against the Kurds known as the Anfal Campaign. And unfortunately, Muhammad and his family were caught in the middle of this genocidal warpath. And not just because of their geographical location and that they were culturally Kurdish, it's because Muhammad actually fought in the Kurdish military against Saddam's forces. At some point during the war, Muhammad Wali was captured and imprisoned in an Iraqi POW camp. During this time, he was tortured, which led to many of the physical malformities he experiences today. The cruelty of war wreaked havoc on Muhammad Wali's body. The man lost one of his eyes in a landmine explosion, and Muhammad's speech impairment is said to have come from enemy soldiers beating him in the mouth with the butt of a gun while he was imprisoned. The assault knocking out his teeth and dislocating his jaw, and sadly, these injuries were never repaired surgically, leading to permanent damage.
Sign up with me and I go hire the lawyer. They take everything from me.
Tony, what is he saying, Tony?
His son told me that when he was in the army, he got captured by Saddam Hussein's army.
Oh, shit.
And he was in a POW camp for 9 years.
Oh, my goodness. Well,
got tortured by all these Arabs and Muslims and stuff. Why can't you use dentures? I asked you before.
I can't do it because they broke when Iraqi regime didn't.
Oh, okay.
Then the machine gun, they hit me.
He has bullet injuries there?
Like
the butt of the gun when he was being
POW.
Jeez
Louise.
Snaps his jaw to play sound like.
And the Iraqi regime, wants to join the power,
Due to the torture that he experienced while being imprisoned, Muhammad has limited range of motion in his extremities, which led to his obesity. The man now requires a mobility scooter to get around. His obesity would only compound on the problems that he faced, causing issues such as high blood pressure and diabetes. From what is known, the man has also faced some hardships after moving to the United States. According to reports, Muhammad was issued a wrongful felony charge in 2001 as the result of an alleged drunk driving incident. However, eventually these charges were dropped when it was discovered that Muhammad was drinking a non-alcoholic beverage. As for his family, Muhammad is divorced and has 3 children. His health conditions have left him unemployed and reliant on Social Security and food stamps to get by, and it's said that the man struggles to pay his bills. Muhammad Wali's physical disabilities led to him using the internet as a method of entertaining himself, and that's how we eventually get to the TikTok videos. And sadly, because a lot of Muhammad's content is political in nature and he often speaks out against the atrocities committed against the Kurdish people, his accounts are frequently banned on TikTok and other platforms. Fortunately though, outside of big platforms banning his videos, Muhammad has been treated rather kindly from fans and supporters. After being platformed by Ethan Klein's H3 podcast, a GoFundMe was created by Muhammad's friend Jet and was promoted by Ethan Klein. The intention of this fund was to raise money for a vehicle that could carry Muhammad's mobility scooter. It raised close to $13,000. A subsequent GoFundMe was created in January of 2023, which requested more help for debts, bills, and living expenses faced by the financially struggling man. This GoFundMe still remains active to this day and has currently raised close to $7,000. I'll put the link to this GoFundMe down in the description box. As of today, not much of Muhammad's social media has been active, but updates are still occasionally given in regard to his current situation, which while still difficult has been made significantly better by his living meme-hood. Compared to many of the other examples on this list, becoming a living meme has proved to be overwhelmingly positive for Muhammad, and it's genuinely heartwarming to see the internet caring about this man and his struggles. Hopefully this generosity continues, and I wish nothing but the best for Muhammad Wali. This next topic is another example of when living memehood turns out to be an overwhelmingly positive thing. A living meme made even sweeter after the hardships faced by this man became public knowledge. Arguably one of the most popular living memes of the last decade, this is the story of Hugh Mungus. The popularity of a viral video is oftentimes a surprise to the individual that makes it, and sometimes people aren't even trying to be filmed or be in a video and they go viral in the process. This was the case with Hugh Mungus. The Hugh Mungus saga begins back in 2016 with a man named Rudy Pantoja. Rudy was attending a Seattle, Washington City Council meeting which was taking place on August 10th. This meeting was essentially a debate to determine whether there should be a new police precinct built in the city. Rudy spoke in front of city council and advocated for the police station to be built, citing that he supported the police because they had helped get his daughter treated for a heroin addiction. This meeting would go on for some time, and after its conclusion, in the hallways outside of the city council chambers, that's where the Hugh Mungus meme was born. When exiting the chambers, Hugh Mungus was pulled aside by local media and asked to do an interview. The man obliged. And it's at this point where Zarna Joshi, an anti-police city council meeting attendee, turns on her camera and starts filming the interview. According to her commentary, she seemed frustrated that the news was interviewing a pro-police city council attendee when apparently there was a bunch of anti-police people there and like the media wasn't interviewing them, so she got triggered about that.
So right now, the news is interviewing a person whose daughter was a heroin addict, I think, is what he said in his public comment. And he's pro-bunker, he's pro-cops. And so he's the one getting interviewed, and there are like a million people who have spoken about how they've been abused by the cops, but they're not being spoken to.
The woman eventually becomes so pissed that she rudely interrupts the news interview and creates one of the biggest public freakouts in internet history.
You take my picture?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You want my name?
Yeah, sure.
It's Hugh Mungus.
Okay. Hugh Mungus what? Humongous what?
Humongous.
Humongous what?
Humongous.
Humongous what?
Humongous.
Humongous what?
Humongous what?
Humongous what? Is that sexual harassment? Is that what you just did when you said that to me?
What, humongous?
Why would you say that to me?
Yes, but my name.
Why would you say that to me?
Why would I say it to
Why
you?
would you say that to me?
Why would you ask me my name?
What? Humongous what? Humongous what? Humongous what? Humongous what? This person just spoke to me in a sexually harassing way.
I did not.
Yeah, he did. He said, do you know what my name is? And I said, what? And he said, Humongous. Yeah. Yeah. This person just sexually harassed me.
I said I'm humongous.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. Humongous what?
Humongous.
So now you're actually pointing to yourself. You're actually pointing to your body parts. And you're actually pointing to your body parts and saying that you're humongous.
So yeah, I mean, that's the Humongous video. You've all seen it a million times. It's like the dad joke of the century. Zarna thinks it's a sexual innuendo. I don't know. You guys be the judge, okay? What's truly baffling about the Humongous public freakout video is that it was actually uploaded to the internet by Zarna herself. She thought that she looked good in this video. However, it wouldn't take long for the online masses to weigh in and determine who was right and wrong in this situation. And it soon became clear that Zarna was hated and Humongous, aka Rudy, was being treated as like a heroic living meme figure. This video would end up being covered by some of the biggest YouTubers at the time, notably Ethan from H3H3 Productions. Ethan encouraged his fans to support Rudy and even invited the man onto his channel to do an interview. In this interview, Humongous revealed for the first time to the public that his name was Rudy Pantoja and would explain that he attended the city council meeting to support the new police precinct.
He was a great man, one who stood up for what was right and stood behind dad jokes even when the waters got dicey. That man happens to be with us here today. And what is his name?
Rudy Pantoja. Originally when I spoke in thanking the Seattle Police Department for getting my heroin addicted daughter off the streets and thrown in jail, and that she was able to find treatment, which is important to me.
And with the help of H3H3 Productions, who was on the top of his game at the time, Humongous became one of the biggest online figures in the world, in terms of virality at least. The story was honestly just perfect. Like, not only was Humongous Rudy just a sweet and nice guy, the circumstances of the Humongous video also hit home for people because of the story behind it, in the sense that he was going to city council to advocate for another police precinct because, you know, they had apparently helped his daughter out when she was addicted to drugs. And it's clear that he didn't deserve the lashing that Zarna gave him. The guy was just a sympathetic figure. The man was so humble in his interviews with H3 and doesn't use his online fame or Ethan's platform as a way to make money or launch an online career. In fact, he actually asked people to donate to a woman's rehabilitation charity. Meanwhile, on the other side of the fence, you had Zarna Joshi, who, in the wake of Humongous's popularity, released a video of her own doubling down on her opinion that Rudy had harassed her, and created an online fundraiser for herself to provide money so that she could have safety and well-being. Unlikable, dude. Unlikable.
Are you ready for the touchdown? If you want to contribute to Zarna's safety and well-being, then follow the link below to donate to her fund. What does that mean? She set up a U-caring so that people can donate money for her well-being. Like, I like how when Humongous had the opportunity to come on our channel, that video, by the way, the interview with him has 4 million views now. What did he do? He said, donate to this battered women's charity. And now what does she do when she speaks up for herself? She says, give me money.
So at this point in the story, Zarna is completely ridiculed in the online public space, and justice had been served in this situation. But sadly, around this time, some unfortunate news would come to the surface. Apparently, around the time of the Humongous video going viral, Rudy was dealing with serious health problems and doctors suspected that he may have had cancer. Financially strapped, Rudy was apparently selling his personal belongings to pay for the medical screenings. And Rudy was struggling with these costly health complications before his appearance on the H3 podcast, but he didn't even bring up his issues while talking to Ethan, likely as to not come off as begging for money.
What most people don't realize is that even though he looks wonderful and lovely and beautiful, and I do love the beard, Rudy, I think keep the beard, he's having a lot of health problems, a lot of problems in life. I spoke to him this morning. When he had the opportunity to ask 4 million people in an interview for money to help himself, he didn't.
In light of this cancer news, Ethan Klein created a fundraiser on Rudy's behalf with a $10,000 goal, which unsurprisingly went viral, raising upwards of $150,000. The money raised in the hopes of getting Rudy any screenings or treatments that he needed. And the love shown from the Kleins, their fan base, and the greater internet continued to flow, with Rudy being invited as one of the first guests to appear on the now massively popular H3 podcast. Hugh Mungus Rudy appears to be doing well these days, and his story will remain as the shining example of how becoming a living meme and accepting it can honestly be a good thing. Our next living meme was thrust into internet fame thanks to his short stature and even shorter temper. The Bagel Boss. Many of you likely remember this fella, but few of you likely know his story and the tragic scenario that happened after he became living meme famous. It all begins on July 10th of 2019 with a tweet that read the following. So in Bagel Boss this morning, the misogynistic douchebag seen in the video was degrading almost all the female staff as well as other patrons. Fuck this guy. The attached video starts seemingly midway into an argument being held between a short man and other people inside of this Bagel Boss restaurant located in Long Island, New York.
Why is it okay for women to say, oh, you're 5 feet on dating sites? You should be dead? That's okay?
The man's rant essentially about him being made fun of for being short and how he couldn't get women because of his stature. This tweet and its video would go viral, with hundreds of thousands of people making fun of the man in it, and in turn making him into the living meme known as the Bagel Boss Guy. And this was one of those situations where people were overwhelmingly making fun of the Bagel Boss. Most didn't see this as like an endearing video by any stretch. A day after the tweet went viral, the man was revealed to be Long Island resident Chris Morgan. Curiously, Chris had a YouTube channel which featured other various angry interactions that he had been involved in. The discovery of these videos puzzled many, and people were like, is this guy fucking crazy? Like, why is he in so many interactions of him freaking out against people? After the outing of this channel, people flocked to it and started leaving negative comments on his content and reporting much of it for violating community guidelines. As a result of his videos being reported, Chris's channel was terminated from YouTube. The very next day, Chris would create a new channel and uploaded a video addressing the newfound public interest into his activities, and he seemed in good spirits despite the public outrage he was facing.
Oh, hey, this is Chris Morgan, the real Bagel Boss man. Check out this motherfucking Facebook page.
It turns out Chris's chipper mood was a result of him being reached out to by a management company, who essentially pitched him a business idea where he would maintain the angry Bagel Boss character so that they could convert this into some sort of viral brand. With that in mind, around this time, Chris would appear on countless interviews and podcasts as the Bagel Boss.
When you're treated like a ghost, or you got leprosy, or you're like not wanted in this world, it's very hurtful. It's heartbreaking. You want to die. You want to kill you. All this shit. And then finally, and that was tough enough to deal with alone. And then when you're just trying to go into a goddamn bagel store to get something, and people keep saying, like 4 a.m, and people making comments, anybody's going to snap after a while. And I finally had enough of this fucking shit.
On top of this, the man would begin participating in obvious publicity stunts and challenged various online figures to fights, in a clear effort to make himself like the heel of the internet. But most saw through these fake publicity stunts, and honestly the situation just started to get sad, with Chris making a fool of himself for really no gain at all. Some even started to feel sorry for the guy. Over time, tidbits of information about his life would become known that recontextualized the original Bagel Boss situation. Morgan would admit to suffer from bipolar disorder and had apparently been through several abusive situations in his life. According to Chris, he was molested at the age of 12 by a teenage neighbor.
Past memories snowball, and it just builds up.
Right.
And
it was really just a
common. I'm partial. I'm bipolar to a degree, and that's what happens to me. It just triggers everything, and I just explode. But I backed off to him. I didn't touch nobody. I didn't spit, kick, scratch, nothing. But for me, I believe that because I was molested, that it's had a more profound impact to where I'm more addicted to sex, or I need it. Because when you're 12 years old, it'll fuck you in. A neighbor of mine forced masturbation on me, and
that's
a
fucked
mutual
up, man.
Yeah, it is, and there was no
That's
sex
fucked
involved.
up.
Yeah, he had magazines. You know who you are, Michael. Fucking.
Yeah, fuck you, Michael. Whatever the fuck
Michael
your name. Michael.
His wedding and everything. He was 17. I was 12 years old. I still remember the fucking sperm hitting my hand. It was disgusting.
Bagel Boss has also since added some context as to what led up to the actually legit, Bagel Boss video that got him infamous online. Turns out, in the days leading up to the Bagel Boss freakout, Chris had been going through some struggles personally. At the time of the freakout, Chris was living out of his van after a living arrangement at an apartment fell through. This occurring after the basement of said apartment flooded after him living there for only 2 weeks.
There were other things that recently happened to me. I was living in one apartment. The guy didn't tell me he foreclosed. 2 weeks later, after I moved in, I ended up getting a flood in my basement. I moved to another place. She was a total witch, did so many things for her, shelled money out for her, and she just turned out to be a witch. So I left. So now I'm living in my van by choice. But this has been going on all my life.
Chris also explained that he was experiencing various hardships with his cleaning business that he operated.
I had a partner when I first started my cleaning company. I had this guy Al, who was my supposed financial advisor, who tried stealing money from me, but I got that back. I had another partner who I met through him in Canada, and we were starting to get an online business store. Yeah. Well, needless to say, he jerked around, he never finished the work, and he robbed me $175. We each paid half of the website, and he never paid me back. That and all this shit made me snap, and I'm done. I am done, bro.
And according to Chris, he was being made fun of for his height at the Bagel Boss establishment by the cashier. Chris claims that before the incident, the female cashier had been laughing at him upon him walking up to the kitchen to order his food, which caused him to ask why she was laughing. According to Chris, the cashier denied ever laughing, and that's what led to him blowing up.
Then she's doing this with a mouth and looking at people and smirking and laughing, and I started to feel like I was being maligned, or I felt like I was less of a person, And you know how people are when they with their faces and they're degrading you and stuff. So finally I took it, and I says, Miss, I says, what are you laughing at? I says, I'm a frequent here. So now they're acting like they didn't do it, which got me mad. But then from that point on, that's when the people jumped in.
Whatever the case and whatever the circumstances were that led up to the incident, Chris would try to, sort of play this Bagel Boss persona up for some time, but eventually it falls flat, and sadly, hardship follows. Just 4 months after the Bagel Boss incident went viral, Chris would suffer a stroke that reportedly left the entire left side of his body numb. Chris's manager at the time would create a GoFundMe for the man, but sadly, due to the abrasive persona put out into the public by the Bagel Boss, this GoFundMe didn't see much success. It's been close to 3 years since Chris Morgan's stroke, and his future in regard to being an online living meme celebrity, it's unclear if that's something that he'll ever, start back up pursuing. The only noteworthy appearance of Chris was in October of 2020, when a video recorded of Chris at the hospital was published by a third party. Chris lashes out at his former manager in this video and threatened litigation for content that was apparently recorded of him while he was unconscious in his stroke state.
When I get out of here, I'm contacting a lawyer. I'm going to sue you if you don't stop.
I'm going to take them down.
Take them down today.
It's unclear what the future holds for Chris Morgan, the Bagel Boss. Sadly, Chris's run-in with Living Meme Hood doesn't appear to have provided much, if any, tangible benefit to his life. If anything, it's made things worse. And I find this a good point to segue into our final story, a man who has experienced nothing but hardship as a result of becoming a living meme. That individual being TikTok enigma Daniel Larson.
Hello, my name is Daniel Larson. I just wanted to say happy birthday to Mike Hunt. Happy birthday, Mike Hunt. Have a great rest of your week.
In March of 2020, a man known as Daniel Larson would begin posting videos of himself to TikTok under the handle Daniel Larson Fans. Daniel's videos primarily consisted of him talking to the camera about his aspirations of being a celebrity. His account being rather peculiar because he was a complete nobody at the time, but, made his TikTok name Daniel Larson Fans as if he already had some sort of fan base. Some who explore the more off-kilter areas of TikTok would find his account amusing. In Daniel's videos, he often showcased a variety of unusual mannerisms, actions, and speaking patterns that telegraphed to many that something was off with him.
This is Daniel Larson. There is just now a text over social media that came up under Flex Burger. Please do not look at it. It's a picture of my ding-a-ling. We have Interscope's security team, cybersecurity team, working on everything right now to clear everything. We're going to get it taken down off the media. Please stay tuned.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I will not be doing porn. Thank you, and have a great day.
And unfortunately, it would be these eccentricities that Daniel would become famous for, and people would essentially start bullying him on TikTok and, acting as if they were real fans of him and manipulating him to believe that they were fans when actually people are just treating him as a lolcow. Daniel is on the autism spectrum and couldn't really tell the difference. Daniel's first big viral TikTok is a great example of people sort of making fun of him for the way he looks and sounds. The infamous Quandale Dingle video.
This is a message to Quandale Dingle. Please stop messaging me. Go to hell.
Before we dive into his even more bizarre TikTok content, I think now would be a good place to discuss the individual's troubled past. Daniel has had a hard life, to say the least. Apparently growing up in an abusive and neglectful household, at the age of 11, he was removed from his parents' custody and would go to live with his grandmother in California. Around this time, Daniel was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, ADHD, and autism. In July of 2019, his grandmother would pass away from cancer, and Daniel was left in the hands of a new caretaker. And it would be around this time that Daniel would create his TikTok and YouTube accounts and started talking about wanting to be a celebrity actor/singer. What becomes clear when viewing Daniel Larson's video content is that the man is extremely impressionable. He's easily manipulated by trolls, many of which who boost his ego up and tell him that he already is a celebrity. These trolls frequently pull cruel pranks on Daniel. In his quest to become a musician, Daniel has produced some music that is admittedly not of the greatest quality.
I am the leader. My team is my gang. Stop messing with me because you're neither. I am the king. Hand me my crown. I got a smile and you got a frown.
And as a prank, these mean-spirited trolls try to convince Daniel that he's been signed to a record label, and sadly, he's believed this on numerous occasions.
I am now collaborating with Blade and Playboy Cardi. Please stay tuned as I do the three-way. Thank you.
These trolls do this simply by messaging him off random accounts saying that they represent a label, and the guy is so impressionable that he believes it. Daniel has also been coerced by these trolls to say unsavory things in his TikTok videos. One such example of this was when a troll once convinced Daniel to make a video saying that he liked CP under the guise of CP standing for Club Penguin.
Hello everyone, this is Daniel Larson. I love CP.
The frequency at which Daniel has fallen for these nasty troll tricks has led many to call him the Gen Z Chris Chan. And admittedly, this is a pretty apt comparison. Just like Chris, you've got a guy with multiple mental disorders going on, which is going face to face with an army of just the nastiest trolls out there, and the result is just some really just kind of like disgusting stuff. Since becoming the target of TikTok trolls, Daniel has become homeless and has even faced criminal accusations. Unlike many of the cases discussed today, Daniel's saga is still very much unfolding live right now. Hopefully someone who cares for Daniel will step in and get him away from these detractors online, as his continuous interaction with them will only result in negative consequences. As we wrap today's video up, I want to again thank today's sponsor, Holzkern. Remember to click the link in the description box and use code SURF15 to get 15% off Holzkern jewelry. But that, my friends, were the living memes with tragic backstories. Let me know what you guys thought about this video down below in the comments section, and let me know who or what you want me to talk about next. I want to give a major shout out to my patrons. I appreciate you guys. Wavy Web Surf out. Peace.